One of my favorite tools or concepts in lean manufacturing is visual management. Now, I will do an entire video, maybe even a series of videos on visual management in the future. But just know right now that what visual management is any sort of a visual thing that can convey information to us to either help us make decisions, to be more efficient, to control the flow of an activity or behavior. It can even keep us from hurting ourselves. The visual management that I'm going to show you in this video, though, is something that we use daily in our kitchen. Meal planning, or menu planning. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. By planning out our meals for the entire week, every Sunday, we accomplish a few things. First, it can be a little bit of a bonding thing. It's kind of fun sitting down with the family, going through my huge collection of cookbooks and figuring out what we're going to eat, what might be fun. From there, it allows us to plan our shopping list so we can shop more efficiently, buying what we expect to use. Finally, it helps us plan out our days, because if on any given day we know what's for dinner, we're able to plan accordingly from a time standpoint. It also keeps us from making a split decision like, what's for dinner tonight? What do we do? Let's just order out. So I think we're a lot more efficient because of it. So in addition to a whiteboard, some of the tools that you will need if you want to recreate this the way I did: automotive pinstriping tape. You can get this at any auto shop. A scissors and a penknife. A tape measurer and a label maker. And now let's make our meal planning board. We're going to start with a whiteboard. This one measures 23 by 17. Now a little quick math. We have 23. I want to divide that by 4 because I'm going to have 8 total quadrants. No. Octants, whatever you would call it. I'm going to have 8 squares. So 7 for the weekdays and 1 bonus one, which we'll get to in a minute. So that means 4 columns. 23 divided by 4 is 5.75. Then we need a line right down our center. So 17 divided by 2, 8.5. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my center line horizontally across the board. So I'm going to mark it on both sides at 8.5 inches. Now I'm going to do this with a dry erase marker right on the edge. Next we'll do the same for our vertical lines. I'll go for the center first, which would be 11.5, top and bottom. Even though that was out of camera, trust that I just drew that line. And then 5 3/4 from each side. And again on the bottom. Next, I've got some automotive pinstriping tape. This is 1/8 inch black. I'll measure out my horizontal line. Now when you're trimming it, it's okay if you go just a smidge long because we can tidy this up with an X-Acto knife after the fact. I've got it started. I'm going to position it right down by my mark here. Pull off the backing. Lay this right over my second mark. And then smooth it out. Now you can see that I went just a little bit over the edge. Not a problem. Get in there with an X-Acto knife. And then just tuck that edge under. Next, I'll repeat that process 3 more times. Here, here, and here. And that will give me 8 quadrants. Or octants, or whatever we're going to call them. So now I've got my 8 sections. I'm going to do one more thing with the pinstriping. And that's add a little chunk at the bottom of each. So I'm going to give myself 2 inches at the bottom of each one of these. You'll see what it's for in just a moment. As before, I'm marking it with a dry erase marker. And then we'll put our dividing line here and here. Now for this bottom one, I'm not going to go all the way across. I'm only going to go for the bottom 3 so that we leave this chunk fully open. Next up, label maker. Monday. And then I will label each of the big sections here, starting with Monday. Now if I were super duper anal retentive, I could have marked the middles of each one of these boxes, but I'm not quite that anal retentive. Sunday. And now you get to see what the last one is for. It's for whatever you want it, really, but I use Wishlist so that my family can put down food items that they'd like to have at some point in the future, just not this week. I'm going to slide this out of the light. You can put a shopping list there, notes, leftovers. This is your box to play around with and make your own. Now I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe off my little markings on the edge. And with that, our board is almost done. On the other side, magnets, because we're going to stick this to the side of the fridge. Get some big ones. I'm not sure what size they are, but they're about the size of a pencil eraser. Like the big pink pencil eraser. That's what you want to get. Now in terms of filling this out, the top portion is going to be what we're going to eat. The main dish, sides, salads, whatever you feel is applicable. This next box down here, similar to the wish list box, you can do whatever you want, any sort of special notes. What we use this for is additional people that we expect for dinner or minus people that we expect won't be here for dinner. So for my family, we've got me, we've got my wife Terry, we've got Connor, we've got Connor's girlfriend Jaden, we've got my grandson Colton. Right now, Courtney's off to school, so we don't really need to list her as a plus or a minus. But say my in-laws were coming over on Sunday for dinner. I would say plus Barb plus Carl. I know that on Tuesday night, Jaden, Colton, and Connor are going to be over by Jaden's dad's house. So minus Jaden minus Colton minus Connor. Let's say on Friday night, my wife was going out with friends for dinner. I would put minus Terry. Now the reason we do that first is because that may dictate what we wind up eating. For example, Jaden and Connor, not big fans of seafood. So on Tuesday night, maybe that's a good night for my wife and I to do something seafood. So we'll say fish. What should we do? Say, we'll go with cod. We'll do some baked cod. I want to practice on a keto dressing recipe, so I'm going to say we need to have some sort of a salad. So let's just write down, salads. And my wife just harvested some corn out of the garden, so corn. You do not have to make your board the same way I made my board. If you want to start the week on a Sunday, go ahead, do that. Like I said in that last little box, it could be a wish list, it could be a shopping list, your call. And if you can't think of a good use for that little block underneath each day, you don't need it. Lastly, if you want to get really creative with the whole visual management thing, you can come up with some sort of color coding system. I had tried this initially, but found that with my family, that was just a bridge too far. To me, the important thing is that you get together every Sunday and plan out the week. When you don't do it, the whole system fails. Another thing you may consider is building in a day or two per week that's a leftover day or a flex day or a date night or whatever. In the future, I'll be showing you more lean tools that you can use around the house, in particular in the kitchen, including more visual management. So if you found this video useful and are interested in more of these tools and tips and tricks and just fun lean stuff around the house, click that subscribe button down there. And thanks for watching.